What is preventing you from living in harmony? Stick around because that's what we're talking about today. You are listening to the Air Hug Community Podcast, and I am your host, Judy Arizosa. If you're new here, this podcast is all about, the second half of your life. Thank you for joining in today, and let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Air Hug Community. Today, we have a very special guest, and I'm super excited to introduce her. So our guest today is Lisa Drake, and Lisa describes herself as a recovering hyperachiever and freestyle coach. She helps women learn how to to let go of the need to overachieve by way of mindset and energetic tools so that they can calm down and actually enjoy the life they created. So Lisa, I'm super excited, and you have to tell me what inspired you to be recovering from being a hyperachiever.
Hello, Judy. Thank you for having me. Yes. What caused me to be recovering is, and I haven't even really talked about this. This is the first time I'm talking about it publicly, is at the
Ooh.
end of last year, in October, I'd met my match, right? It was me against me, and I couldn't push any more. I couldn't do anymore. I couldn't work any more hours. I could not try any harder. And I ended up, my coach said, "Hey, when's the last time you took some time off?" I'm like, "Oh, I've taken like long weekends, add on to holidays, a few days off around Christmas." She's like, "No, Lisa, like when have you really taken time off?" Well, I can't remember. She's like, "Why don't you take October off?" And I reluctantly did. This is a very long answer to your question,
No, I
but it
love
is
it.
really what happened. In October was the worst month of my life. I mean, not having a schedule, not having things to do, like having to, this is such an oxymoron, actively rest, right? Like to rest on purpose. And that turned into being off for 114 days of
What?
work. Yeah. And so that is the recovering part. That is the recovering from this conditioning, this belief, this part of me that has created so much value in the world and achieved so much, but like but needed to not be in charge any longer.
Mhm.
And so those 114 days was like me and her being in a UFC ring.
Okay, time out. Dog's gotta go. Happens every
Okay.
time.
It does.
I
For
know.
me
I leave
too.
my phone, and now the dogs are yelling. Here, go save the world. Thank you for your patience,
Yes,
Lisa and
sure,
audience.
of
I probably
course.
won't edit this out. All right, carry on.
It's real. It's real, Judy.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it was just the whole dismantling of a persona, in a way, of someone who always achieves at a very high level, someone who always meets her goals, someone who always is super driven and takes no prisoner kind of thing. No one can outwork me. I will always be the last person standing. And that worked for me for decades in my quote unquote uh, in my other life, right? Pre-coach, before I became a coach. And it just stopped working.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to make it if I kept at that level, at that intensity in those hours.
So how did you
So yeah,
recognize
so
that? Or was it the person who told you to take off October, the person who enlightened
my
you?
coach,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I knew it about myself. I knew it intellectually. I knew
Hmm.
it's how I operated, but it's also part of my identity When I was an
Mm.
executive director in the nonprofit world, which was over 2 decades, the organizations I was a part of, whether I was a volunteer or paid staff, was to make our organization the best and to have donors have the best experience. Because if you think about it, in the nonprofit world, we are nearly 100% reliant on the generosity of others.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was driven to make everything we did the best so that we could survive.
Yeah. So
And
you
so
really had
now,
to make yourself stand out. So because people
yes,
only have so much money to give, and it's like,
yeah,
pick
and so
me.
much interest and so much
Mhm.
whatever. So how the program was run, how lean it was, how responsible we are with the dollars, what kind of, do we put on a fantastic event at a low cost? Do we treat our guests to this beautiful experience? So that was the way I thought for 20 plus years.
Mhm.
So then I go to my coaching business and started that in late 2019. Um, and as a life coach, I have been a nutrition and fitness coach since 2015, but I applied that same mentality, except for it was just me. I don't have a staff. I don't have nobody is supporting me. So now I'm doing it all unsupported.
And is this when you started to when you realized you couldn't carry on like this?
Yes.
Okay.
After 3 years of trying.
It sounds like you needed you to coach you.
I coach people on that all the time, right? But we all need the mirror. That's why having a coach is so important because we don't have our own mirror. We
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. I always
And
say even trainers need trainers,
yes,
you know,
absolutely.
for, as a
Absolutely.
parallel. So can we
Mm-hmm.
discuss your unique approach to looking at how the present is a product of your past?
Yes, that's so fun. We talked about that a little bit and on your post
Yeah.
on Instagram. That was such a great post. So if you
And in
haven't
our
gone to
phone
Judy's
conversation.
Instagram,
Yeah.
yes, 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 yes. Um, I'm trying to think where to start. So,
I'll start
okay,
because
yeah,
you gave a
please,
great
please, please.
example. We
Okay.
had we had this phone conversation the other day. We were chatting and it stuck in my mind, and it's probably because of the margaritas and chips. But you mentioned in numerous conversations with someone that you're close to over margaritas and chips that you had so many conversations with this person over, I want to say like a year or more's time. And the person finally said, "Oh, I think I'm starting to hear what you're saying," or something to that effect.
Yes, yes. Um,
Is that
that's that's
stirring
a
your memory?
that
Yeah.
yeah, that's 100% accurate. So two parts on it. One is that when we shifts don't we want to buy the solution. We want to buy the whatever it is to get us from A to B immediately. And so we do buy a lot of solutions that we think will get us there,
Mm-hmm.
but they miss out on the most important thing, and that is helping you shift into being that person, being the person who has the result that you want, getting to
Mm-hmm.
the finish line B.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't immediately create all that we want. We look around us, and what we see is a result of what we have created up until now, if that
Okay.
makes sense. Every single thing we see, like I'm holding this glass of water. This glass of water, we could even say, like, well, that's in the past. The decision to bring it in, to sit down and talk with you, I did that 30 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
These glasses are glasses that I purchased a year ago, right? The chapstick that's half used, it came from 6 months ago. Everything around us we see around us is a result or a product of what we have already thought and what we have already done. And at first you're like, yeah, well, duh. But then we use the things that are around us to make decisions about the future. And that is what my margarita and chips friend was starting to realize, that because this A, B, and C are whatever they are in her life, doesn't mean that that's how her life is from now on.
Mm-hmm.
But because that's what we see, that's what we think is real. And we use that as evidence to make decisions for our future. When truly we closed our eyes to everything around us and just kept thinking about what we want and what we want to achieve and how we're on our way to becoming that, there is no other thing that can happen than for that to happen. So to tie this back to the solution that gets you, that is allegedly the bridge from A to B, they tell you, do this thing, eat that, go here, journal, go to sleep early, right? We talked about this in terms of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Take a bath, get a massage, do all of the things, have girls' weekend. Those things are great, but it's like putting a Band-Aid on it's like putting a Band-Aid on what the real issue is. And the real issue is that you aren't managing your stress, that you aren't thinking high enough of yourself, well enough of yourself
Mm-hmm.
to take care of yourself. So I'm going to buy this thing. I'm going to take this action that says that I take care of me, that shows that I take care of me. But then you leave, you feel good for like 30 minutes, an hour, maybe a day, but you're back to feeling terrible again.
You're right.
I
Like
don't
that
know if this,
massage doesn't last.
it doesn't last. No. And so instead of taking it because you need relief, which that's fine, right? Like, oh, like I'm super stressed,
Mhm.
but not like, oh, I'm going to get a massage because then that's going to make me feel better forever. You become the person that loves herself enough to schedule massages regularly. You become the person. That's what I'm in a very
Getting
circuitous way getting to here, is that bridge of becoming cannot be bypassed.
Okay, so didn't you put a post up like that? Let me see if I can get it right. Um, Give me 1 second. But somewhere in the post was like the person that you are now versus the person that you want to be
Mm-hmm.
in bridging the gap. Sounds like what we're talking
Yeah.
about now, right?
Yeah. You have the work is the middle part,
Yeah, the messy middle, right?
the
Brene
messy
Brown calls it.
middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. The messy middle, the being willing to sit with thoughts that are like sitting in a UFC ring in October,
Yes.
right? About like how you should be doing this and I should be doing that, and I'm not going to have any money and I'm going to lose my business and clients are going to quit and all this kind of stuff. And being like, I I literally cannot continue my business operating at this level. So I have to move myself through all of this discomfort to find a new way. That's the other side of the bridge.
Yeah.
And it is hard, and it makes you really look at yourself, and it makes you question your beliefs and your thoughts and the conditioning. And it creates this whole new level of awareness that helps you cast off from love the things that don't serve you any longer. And then you have to be willing to like be a baby again and learn how to walk and learn how to operate and learn how to do everything anew. This is my experience. So it
Mm-hmm.
has been after being off for 114 days, like all momentum came to a screeching stop.
Wow.
And
I
so,
can't imagine.
yeah, now I have to build every single day, but I build intentionally. It's like, what feels good? What doesn't feel good? Do I love, is this loving to me? Or is this my old whip, whip on the back, like get to work. Like who's in charge here? And being super aware of what thoughts are driving me. What are the thoughts of lack and scarcity and fear, which is kind of what hyperachiever operates on and thrives on?
Yeah. Scarcity
Or,
and fear of
yeah,
failure.
exactly. Or is it from trust and love and belief and
Mm,
caring for me? And so can't we can't get from A to B with some quick solution. It doesn't matter what it is. You've pushed people in nutrition and weight loss and all of that. So many people just give me the recipes, just give me the meal plan, just give me the pill, just give me the
yes.
whatever. But the thing is, you can take all of those, but you haven't become the person who doesn't need those. You've just
Right.
outsourced your responsibility to Judy's food plan or Judy's workout or whatever.
So these people in this situation remain a follower instead of a self-director.
Yes. And we talked about that too. Some people
Yeah.
have, right, they have their word of the year. And
Mm-hmm.
my word for my life is sovereignty. And people, oh, I understand sovereignty, whatever. Sovereignty at its core means self-governing.
I love that.
And that's
And
just, yeah, go ahead.
no, no, no. Finish your thought, because
That's all I want. That's all I want for anybody.
yeah,
Right? I don't like your workouts, Judy, your all the things that you offer get to amplify somebody's journey. They are not meant to be the literal car that takes them from A to B, right? It's
it-
who, and I've heard it so many times, right? It's like who we become. Like we
yeah,
have to become the person who is 100% responsible for ourselves and our mental health and our emotional health and our all of that stuff. And we can do it from beating ourselves up. We can do it from, speaking poorly to ourselves and using willpower and using tough love. We can, which is which will only get us so
so
far, or
far.
we can do it from love and grace and appreciation and understanding and learning how we tick.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest part with these days off is learning, like, what is even my rhythm?
And
What
it's
do I even
unique.
like?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because before I was still in like the 7 to 6 work, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that was programmed into me from before.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to let go of that and be like, oh my God, who am I without this?
Yeah.
And then you get to discover that. And you find out that maybe you kind of like yourself.
There's so much that we can unpack right here. One is, well, first, two things. I want to talk about two things that we have talked about. One that I'm hearing here is our identity. Like you saying, the overachiever, the high achiever is really self-identifies with having that adjective associated with their personality, and they thrive on it.
Achieve.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Overachieve, high achieve. I hear it a lot in the gym, and I'm starting to say, ladies, let's back off on that,
Mhm.
because it's kind of feeds into the perfectionism and
Mhm.
beyond.
Mhm.
That's the one thing. The other thing that you brought up, and I think it was another post on Instagram, and it
Mhm.
stopped my scroll dead. I'm like, what is that a picture of? Do you know what I'm going to talk about?
Oh, the cake.
The not cake, the cake. And you said, help me. You said trying to go basically from who we were to who we want to be is without mindset is like putting frosting on cake batter.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that was your picture. And I'm like, what is that?
And that came from a conversation with a friend who was talking about someone who had called her and wanted to get coaching. And she and actually, it didn't call her, was a current client, and just kept complaining on the phone with my friend who was the coach. You're not giving me solutions. I hired you for solutions. She's like,
Mm.
I've explained my role in this relationship. And she doesn't want to think about her thinking. She doesn't want to take responsibility for her thoughts.
She's not owning it.
She's not owning it. And when you own it, you come up with a million of your own answers. But that trust, and that's the baking the cake part, is the learning how to have the self trust, learning how to believe yourself, learning how to listen to yourself and honor it, and really tone down that voice, which is essentially the ego, that is coming. I mean, if we talk about like from a science aspect, that's coming from your subconscious and your unconscious, which was programmed from the minute you arrived on Earth. It's like we talked on the phone. It's like you got a little floppy disk put in your little brain, and then your unconscious just started recording every single thing,
Every
every
event that
single
happened.
thing,
Yeah.
every word someone said to you, everything that you witnessed. And then your
Mhm.
subconscious brings up the top 8 to 10 to 12 things that repeatedly you have seen in your life. And then that's the voice.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Be this way. That whatever's happened over and over and
Right.
over, yep, that's the voice that you're going to keep hearing. So then the work is only to understand, and we talked about this too, is that that's how your brain operates, and you're not your brain. Your
And people
brain,
are like, wait, what? Right.
right? Your brain is an organ in your body that is designed to keep you alive. And then you have a soul.
Yay. Let's go to the soul.
That's who you are, right? That's who you are. So this is why mindset is so important, because you
Yeah.
understand who's talking. You understand who's got the mic. And then you get to tone one down, like my hyperachiever, which is what I did October and on, is tone that voice down and not shut up, go away, I don't want to hear you, but like, I hear you and I love you. And thank you so much. And I know that this is what you think is the right thing for me to do, but I'm in charge now. And I know that right now we need rest, and we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. I promise. I've never let us down, or we've
Yeah.
never let us down. Right. And so it's that cultivation of that voice and being able, to turn down the mic on the brain, the ego, bring it down, and then be friends with it and call it up off the bench when needed. Like, all right, we got shit to do. We got to go. Let's go, girl. We're going to have a full day. We're going to get all this stuff done. And then at the end of the day, thank you so much. I love you. We got so much done.
Now get back in your box. No.
It's time for you to go take a nap and rest. I'll let you know when I need you again.
Yeah.
And so that mindset, and we call it a lot of different things. I call it mindset. Understanding how all of that works is the baking of the cake.
Yeah. The
And we
baking, and
want
we
the
can't skip
result.
that.
No, we want the result. We want to put the frosting on. We want to decorate it, right? Think about your body. You want it to be trim, and you want to have good arms and a nice butt, and you want to wear those jeans, and you want to whatever, like anybody, not you, but you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
of
And we
course.
want that. We
Hmm.
want that. We want that frosting.
Yeah.
But the baking of the cake is the way we talk to ourselves, the way we care about ourselves, the way we love ourselves, the way we listen to ourselves along the way.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
That makes so much sense to me. And I love that analogy because it just, to me, maybe I'm kind of a literal concrete thinker. And I know actually all of our brains are, but like I
Yep.
generally don't get sarcasm, but I got that picture. I'm like, oh yeah, they skipped a big step in between. Yeah. For me, that was so
Yeah.
helpful.
I'm glad. Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing I just want to say, like, it's okay. I mean, it's human nature. Our brains are designed to be efficient. So
Mhm.
that means as fast as we can get from A to B to be comfortable. So that means we want no pain, we want no discomfort, whether we realize this or not. So we're going to take the easy, fast way and
Yes.
then safe. Our brains want us to be safe. And you know what? It's really not safe to your brain to let your heart online
Mm.
because your brain has constructed this carefully constructed house of cards around you that may now be in jeopardy.
Yeah, I'm
And so it can be
envisioning,
hard.
it can
Yeah.
be, well, of course. I'm envisioning the way you said this. It just popped into my head. And actually, I've been thinking about this for a while since our phone conversation, that our
Mm-hmm.
brain is kind of like the science teacher. Our brain is the science, right? But our
Mm-hmm.
heart and soul is like the art teacher.
Yeah,
And
that's so good.
we have so much freedom with the art teacher, but we have to just let it flow, right?
Yes. Yes. You know, and there's a woman by the name of Carolyn Miss, and I was at one of her workshops a few weeks ago that she held in virtually. I was there virtually. It was in Sedona.
Mhm.
And I need to go back and listen to the replay, but this plays into exactly what you're saying. What she said was, and this is not a perfect recap of it, but
Mhm.
she's like, imagine the three bears: Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear. Papa Bear is your brain, as your head, right? And Papa's like, I got all day work and blah blah blah, and like it's all like very,
Mm. Yeah,
you know, very
nose to the grindstone. Yeah.
left side, right? Logical, factual, whatever. Mama Bear is your heart. And at the end of the day, Mama Bear's like, I want to talk about this. I want to whatever. But
Mhm.
Papa Bear sometimes is like, yeah, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to deal with that. Right. So the feelings, the emotions, all that. And Baby Bear is our voice.
Oh.
And then when we're asked a question, when there's an opportunity for us to say something, to make a change or whatever, Papa Bear and Mama Bear are at odds, and Baby Bear doesn't know what to do or say. And so Baby Bear puts food in its mouth. Baby Bear drinks wine. Baby Bear eats candy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's
soothes.
because it soothes, because it's at odds. So essentially, the head and the heart are at odds. And when they are not in alignment, it's really, really, really uncomfortable. And so we do, and our brain does not like discomfort.
No.
So it finds, and we don't know this is happening, right? Without awareness, without mindset, without like whatever, all this kind of stuff, we're on autopilot. And so we have too many glasses of wine, or whatever it is,
Drink all the margaritas.
drink all the margaritas, way too many chips.
Yeah.
But chips are really good, I'm telling you.
Mm.
So I just thought that was such an interesting visual for
Yeah.
me when I thought about that. And someone asked the baby bear a question, it looks at the parents, the head and the heart, and is like, I don't know. I don't, there's no clarity here. Dad says one thing, mom says something else. I'm going to go hide.
I'm just having a flashback.
Mm-hmm.
Have you have to have seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
I did.
Doesn't the mother talk about this to the daughter the night before she gets married? The man is kind of like the Papa Bear, but the woman is the heart and soul.
Mm,
I swear
I,
it's in that movie. It's coming
I'm
back.
going to watch and see.
I know. I have to go look it up.
Yeah.
Anyone, let me know if you're listening to
Yes.
this. If I
Yes.
got the wrong movie or the right movie, now I'm dying to know. But anyways, I feel like
Yeah.
he talks about that
And
because she
so that,
always says, "Yeah, go ahead."
mhm. So that's like, right, that's hyperachiever, and then like heart coming online, and baby bear laying in bed for many, many, many days because Papa Bear, my brain, Papa Bear had a lot to say about not working. And Mama Bear's like, you are not going to last if you don't. And then Baby Bear, me, is like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And
Wow.
so sitting with that discomfort, understanding what's going on, learning how to bring those two into alignment was the work over the 114 days.
I think the big key here that I'm picking up from you is that we don't like to sit in discomfort and we want to
Our brain
rush out of
doesn't.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. Our brain's like, no way. This is not safe. Not only does it not feel good, but it's not safe. So
Yeah.
we have to do something that makes us feel safe,
Yeah.
whether it is good for us or not. Right? We talked about that too, that discomfort of change.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a client, his wife was going to do this a long time ago, nutrition coaching with me, and she was all on board. And she told him about it. She's like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. He's pre-diabetic. He's like, no, I got this. No, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have to change everything. The next day, he had an appointment at the doctor's, and they were going to take a part of his toe. And guess who was on the nutrition program the next day?
Wow.
Right. So the which one has to be worse to like
Yeah. Which
lose
discomfort
part
do
of
you want
my
to be in?
body?
Yeah.
Yes. Is it the discomfort of not eating all the chips? Or is it discomfort of having surgery to have part of your body taken off of you? And our
Yeah.
brain will push us to that point
Yeah.
because of the unknown. And so, again, that go back to mindset of understanding what's happening, understanding why we're scared, understanding why we don't want to make the change, and then loving ourselves enough to make it anyway. And being friends with ourselves as we have all of the discomfort.
That's tough stuff.
It is tough stuff, but it's super doable. And I'll tell you what, you are not the same person when you get to the other side.
Well, and isn't that the goal?
Absolutely. And it was funny, I was on a call the other day, and it's like about consciousness and all this. And the teacher was talking about how comfortable and how much hard work and stuff like that. He's like, but look, you only get enlightened once. Like enlightenment only happens once. So it may be a lot of work up until that point, but you never go back.
You can't unknow it.
Right. You're there. The shift is done. And so it's that same thing when you understand how your brain works, when you understand it's your soul talking, when you can make friends with them both. Like now, it's like you said in the Instagram post, you're like, damn, it's all us. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't pick that, you know you're not picking it. And the responsibility is 100% on you.
Yeah.
And it may be hard to pick the other thing because it's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
the next time it'll be easier. And the next time it'll be easier. And then you just become this person who takes care of themselves, who loves themselves, who honors themselves, who listens to themselves. And I know we see so much advertising, we see so much BS, and it gets me so angry in social media like, oh, listen to yourself, take my class and learn how to listen to yourself, do these things. Always comes back to doing. Do,
Mhm.
do, do, do. Do the journaling prompts. Buy my smelly mask that when you fall asleep, you smell flowers and now you're relaxed. Right? Like,
Yes.
come to this beach because then you will listen to yourself. Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to yourself is when you're laying in bed for the fourth day straight, can't get out, and you feel like shit. And you were sitting there telling yourself, it's okay, we're safe. It's okay, we're safe. It's okay, I love you. We're going to be okay.
And that is so, if you think about the And listen, I know we're not supposed to care what other people think, but the reality is we care deeply about what other people think. And we're there. I haven't laid in bed for 4 days. Maybe I should. But when you're laying in bed on the fourth day, I won't say that because we just took a vacation and we took a lot of downtime, and it was amazing. But I'm thinking, like, when you're like really, let's not say you're on vacation, you're just off. You're lying there. How do you get your brain to be like, listen, Papa Bear, you got to chill out. I'm thinking about that, and I'm already getting like tense inside, like how I'm going to fight Papa Bear with my heart.
Yeah, right. Right. And so that's when, and that has been years of work, of my own personal work and coaching. I've had more coaches than like you can shake a stick at, and I have spent tens of thousands of dollars. And it has been the best money and the best time I have ever invested in my life, because I am and I'm not saying like it just like since October, like all of this stuff was in me, right? It was in my brain. It was, I had it intellectually. October on helped me embody it, because hyperachiever, I've got all the certifications. I've been to all the classes. I've done all the programs, but now I had to fucking put it in place.
You had to live it.
I had to live it. And the work is to be friends with yourself.
I love that.
And it sounds so corny. It really, how do I be friends with myself? Well, when you need to be friends with yourself, you're going to learn how. So we can wait until we're going to have a breakdown and need to be off for 100 plus days, or we can start now in little teeny tiny ways. Little teeny tiny ways. And the first way is to think about your thinking and pay attention to how you're talking to yourself, and know that that is not you.
What a relief.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if we're going to go like spirituality kind of avenue here, the highest emotion, the highest vibration is love. And we all, just go with me here, we all came from that. And everything that has happened since we came on this planet has separated us from it. The conditioning, the beliefs, the experiences, all of that. Okay, it happens to everyone. I'm not special. You're not special. It happens to us all. And then we get to this point where we realize, I'm not buying what the world's selling anymore. And then that's usually when we start going inwards, or start learning about all of this stuff and whatever. Anything that doesn't feel good is us turning away from love. You not speaking well of yourself. Like, I'll ask a client, is that how your inner being would, is that how God would talk to you? Is that how your inner being would talk to you? Is that how you're deeper, the rest of you, right? Because we're just like this little tiny fractal of energy in this little body here. There's still the rest of us. It's all out connected to everything else. These are my perspectives and a lot of other people's too, but I'm not trying to push anything. But I'm so helpful, because they'd be like, no, God would never say that. Source would never say that. My higher self would never say, you idiot. What's the matter with you? What are you doing eating those chips again? Get your head out of your ass. Like, no.
No one.
They would never talk to you like that.
Our creator would never.
So then you know that's your brain. That's, you know, it's your subconscious. That's how you know it's your programming. That's how you know it's not you. So then, like I said, first step is becoming aware of this, listening to the talk, and saying, maybe that's not me saying that. Maybe, like, because I'm not going to ask you to buy this whole cake that I'm selling you right now.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, maybe she might be onto something there. And if you go with this one time, we're talking to yourself like this is a bad idea. What is the other side of that? What could it be instead? What would it be instead? What would they say it, higher being, rest of yourself, God, source, whatever, creator, what would they say? And now you get, and at first it's gonna be like, no, conditioning is gonna prevail. No, I need to stop doing this. I need to work harder. I need to whatever. And every single time we question that thought from love, not from fighting, but from love and being curious, we have a choice to pick something else. And that voice will get quieter and the other voice will get louder. And you will notice everything in your reality start to shift. Mainly how you feel, how you see the world, and how you love and treat yourself. That is more valuable than a massage, island getaway, the prettiest nails, the best champagne. Those things are lovely, but they get to amplify. They are not the answer. They get to amplify you and the feeling that you have for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they are not really
Not the
not the
answer.
source of your care.
No.
They're just, well, they are the frosting. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it gets to be fun. It gets to be fun. It's like treat yourself, girlfriend, like from fun and like, yeah, I'm gonna go do that. Not to fix you,
Yeah.
not to cure you, not to be who you quote unquote should be. It's just because it's fun and I love me. And like, you know what? I think pink nails would be super fun today. And green toes. I'm gonna mix and match. Right? Like just because it's
Oh
fun.
yeah. Yeah.
Just because it's fun.
And hey, no, nothing wrong with fun. I think what something comes to mind that I've said in regards to my body, am I going to treat my body or am I going to honor my body?
Yeah.
Or I've actually posted this. Am I going to treat my body or am I going to treat my body right, which is honoring my body, right? And because treating is soothing, numbing, blocking out,
Baby
it's
bear at work.
avoiding. Yeah.
Yeah.
And honoring is getting uncomfortable and
Yeah.
listening.
It is because if you believe this, if you believe we're just like this little teeny blip of energy in this body, the body is what we use to get around time and space and explore this period that we have on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we going to treat it like a trash can? Why are we going, like, this is the only thing that I have that's available to me to experience life on this planet. And if I'm going to smoke, and if I'm going to drink, and if I'm going to eat Cheetos all the time, and I'm going to do all of these things, A, what kind of quality of life am I going to have? But B, that's how you're going to respect your vehicle.
Yeah.
Like I always wash my cars, I always vacuum out, I always wash the windows and whatever. And there's nothing that feels better than Friday having a clean car, full tank of gas,
Yes.
whatever. And it drives better. It drives fine, it drives the same, but it feels like it drives better.
Yes.
Because that's my vehicle to get me around, to go to the mountains, to go down to Denver, to go see my son Golden, to drive up to Wyoming, whatever it is that I want to do. And it's the same with my body.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't beat up my car and drive it in the mountains when I don't want to, instead of a truck, and drive through the potholes and expect it to do all of this stuff to get me where I want to go if I don't take care of it.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it's the same with us. Like, and then we get to love it and honor it so much that it's like, oh, this is like, of course I want to take care of it, especially after you're 50, right? You
Yeah.
don't beat
Or
up on
after
it so
60.
hard,
Yeah.
right? Like 50, like, I'm like, dang, I'm going to be alive less than I've ever been alive now. Right? Like,
Right.
Yeah. And so I don't want to protect it, like don't test it, but I want to love it and I want to take care of it because it's the only vehicle that I have. And so when we try to go like that mindset, instead of like needs to be smaller, needs to be tighter, needs to have bigger muscles, needs to have a better backside, whatever it is, when we that's not using our mindset from love,
Yeah.
right? That's punishing our way to the result instead of being curious about like, oh, look, I couldn't do that before and now I can, or I used to be able to do that, but I can't now. So what do I get to find out what I want to do instead now?
Yeah. There's
Right?
so
Because
much in that statement right there. You
yeah,
know,
I used to be a CrossFitter and a strongman competitor, and I am not, and I am very far away from that. And that losing that identity was very difficult. But you
well,
know
we could
what?
go down that road. Yeah.
Playing
Losing any
pickleball is
identity.
super fun.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, when you're on top of the world and you are just did something that you're better than anyone else at,
Mm.
whatever it is, and then you're not, and something that, my mother always said, there's always going to be someone who's better, faster, richer, whatever, smarter, and it doesn't matter,
No.
but, and, this gets to me too, because I think a lot of people will beat themselves up like, I'm 62, right? When
Mhm.
I was 53, I became a professional bodybuilding champion.
Mhm.
I'm not there now. I'm never going to be there. But am I healthy? Arguably, I'm healthier now. You know, no, I don't have washboard abs, but I
Mhm.
think I have a better quality of life,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
do feel like a little bit like Mama and Papa Bear are a little bit in better balance. We're not
Mhm.
kind of lopsided in one way or the other,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the people that I love,
Mhm.
my time with them is so much better now, you
Actually
know.
have it.
Yeah. I actually spend time with them, right? And I'm not worried about, I'm not
Yeah.
taking my food scale everywhere I go. I one time took my
Yeah.
food scale to a restaurant to weigh out something more than once. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Right. And we gotta love that Judy, right? I don't feel like you're hating on her at all, but we gotta love that
no.
part. Like we all have those parts of us.
Yeah.
We gotta love that part that like that had such high accomplishments,
Oh,
achieved
yeah.
so
Do
much,
not wish to shut
right?
the door on it. It's a beautiful chapter,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah,
just a chapter, not an
absolutely.
identity.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the thing, right? Is being willing to refresh, hit the refresh on that identity over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the same person I was on September 30th,
No.
right? And that was a lot to go through. And who knew that I'd love this version even more?
Yeah.
Right. And I can super appreciate that other version and all the ways she tried. And you know, hindsight's 2020. Now that I have some distance, there's like a I zoomed out. I'm at like 30,000 feet now, 40,000 feet. And so I can see how things were playing out, and being able to look at that with love helps me to see when those patterns start to show up again and be like, oh, come on, hon, we're going to go over this way. We don't that worked for us then, but we're not doing that now. We're gonna do it this way. And then I do.
Because, yeah.
And so it's that being friends with myself like over and over and over again. And knowing that my identity will continue to change even by the end of this year. It'll be different than the
Right.
person I am talking to right now.
And doesn't it have to? Because our history continues to change, right? Every day we're adding a page to our history that's shaping us, right? So it's not the same history that it was 10
Absolutely.
years ago. And I love that.
No, but this And yes, I do too. And this gets back to the very first thing that we talked about like our present kind of being the past, right? Being an accumulation of all the decisions, all of the actions, all the choices we've made up until this moment. People will look around, they'll look at those pages and they'll say, I have 63 years of this evidence that this is how it is. So that is how it is going to be going forward.
Yeah.
And that's where we get stuck. That's where we get stuck. It's because we have decades of evidence that things are a certain way. But that's only because you keep looking backwards.
Yeah. It's okay to look, I think, and reflect because it does shape us. But I think expecting the same results is getting back into
Short-sighted.
that imbalance. It's short-sighted, right? It's
Yeah.
getting more to the Papa Bear
Super.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Data, facts, logic, whatever. And
Mhm.
shutting down, my opinion, Mama Bear's possibility, hope, curiosity,
Mhm.
exploration, all of that stuff. And that's when you can get those in alignment with one another, it's a really beautiful feeling. And we're not, and the goal is never to be 100% in alignment. Like that's impossible.
No.
But to know what it feels like and then be like, "Ooh, I'm a little bit off. Okay, what do I need to do? How do I get myself back there?" And it usually is through the way that you're thinking.
Okay, I just love that. And it really just spurred something because I just read something
Mm-hmm.
this morning. It's amazing. I mean, we could go on forever, but
We could.
we could, right? It's you talk about sovereignty as a beautiful, and I
Mm-hmm.
love that, by the way. The
Mm-hmm.
word that I've been using in my own life has been in the last, I don't know, several chapters, I could say, has been balance. And
Mm-hmm.
the something occurred to me today is that you cannot be like perfectly happy, in alignment, joyous
Mm-hmm.
all the time. And I think a lot of our problems, I will speak to people with, let's say, disordered eating.
Mm-hmm.
When we're not joyous, we're having a day that's less than ideal. What happens? We might go soothing with those chips, soothe with the Hershey's Kisses, right? That would be the answer to, well, I can't make myself happy, but I could do this, right? I once had someone say to me, well, peanut butter cures all the world's ills, right? And we soothe. But when we learn to live in balance, we know, okay, not every day we're going to be on top of the world, and not every day are we going to be in our worst depression. But if we can be somewhere in the middle, and if we have smaller blips, we may understand that we don't need to soothe with disordered behaviors of any kind, whatever they might be. Now, that might be
Yeah,
oversimplified for someone like an alcoholic, but I think I don't want to make light of that
mm-hmm.
for someone who has a true
Of
addiction,
course.
but I don't believe there are any true food addictions. I think they're all soothing behaviors, just to put it out there,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have to go there.
Mm-hmm. And I love that word balance. And I'm gonna ask permission first if I could upgrade that word to
Yeah,
something
let's hear.
even. So I 100% understand balance. And when I hear balance, what that still puts me on is a teeter totter. It still
Mm.
puts me on either or. It still puts me on black and white. It still puts me on good, bad. But what about the word harmony? When we
Mm.
go for balance, we're continually measuring, in my opinion. But the word harmony is the word I've been using, especially since October, is how do I be in harmony with myself and like what I need now and what feels good now, like what would take care of me now instead of, well, I had kisses yesterday, so no kisses today. And I'm not suggesting that we use harmony in terms of food, but just harmony as an overarching theme in terms of how we stay or remain in alignment or get back to alignment. How am I
Mm.
not being in harmony with myself right now? Could be the question. Oh, I'm resisting the desire. Why do I want this? Why do I want to eat those kisses? Why do I want to eat the peanut butter?
Mhm.
Because of how I think it's going to make me feel. That's the only reason we do anything,
Looking
is
for
how
the
we think it's
dopamine
going to
hit.
make me feel.
Right.
Yeah. And so why do I want to feel that way? Because I don't want to feel this way. Why am I feeling this way? Because of the way that I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And it
Right. And
goes
it gets
back
back to
to
the,
our
yeah.
thinking,
Right.
the mindset, right? And so then how can I be in harmony with myself? Well, I feel like I need something to comfort me. I don't want to, like, I'm really trying to be this person that doesn't turn to peanut butter. Okay, so what can I do instead? What do I need? What is the most loving thing I can do for myself? What is the most loving way to support myself right now? What is in harmony with what I could use right now for my highest good and my highest time? I don't know, just putting that out there to chew on,
You
not
know
to
what? I
replace your
really
word at
feel that.
all.
No, I feel it. And at first I was like, no, she doesn't get what I mean by balance. And then I'm like, oh yeah, she does. And I do feel like harmony, harmony, it takes it a step further, right? It takes it a
Yeah.
step further so that you're not on pins and needles walking a tightrope, right?
Yeah.
You can dip your toes in one way or the other, and it sounds like a beautiful song. It's harmonious.
Yes. You can't do it wrong because you're doing, if not that there's a wrong way, but if you're really tapped in, then being in harmony with yourself is, you're going to know what to do. You're going to know what you need.
Yeah, it becomes
So it
intuitive.
asks of, yes, it's a bigger solution, a bigger avenue to get to feeling differently than the short-term dopamine of the peanut butter or the kisses or the pizza or the
Yeah,
alcohol or whatever it is,
yeah,
right? Because you're asking a low grade question, or peanut butter, all those things, they satisfy a low level. They satisfy like the animal level of us, the
mm-hmm.
satiation, right? But that doesn't tap into our source and who
Soul.
we are, who's really trying to get through,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not functioning at that level.
Yeah.
We're functioning at a low level by doing that. And I'm not knocking it. I just
No.
think awareness of all of this is so helpful because it helps you transform. And the speed is not, it doesn't matter. That's not the goal, but it
Mm,
helps you make bigger jumps when you are thinking about your thinking and you understand who's at play and who has the microphone. Is your heart being squashed and like, we turn up, like it's like a party, right? Your heart's knocking at the door, and then the brain has got like oh, I got to turn on the music. We can't hear that, no one's at the door, right? And they got the speakers blaring and stuff like that. So like, what's going on here is the one of the most valuable questions you could ask
yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
What am I thinking? What's happening here for me? Is my heart talking, or is it my brain going back to past patterns, going back to past programming? And and am I going to choose that on purpose right now? And if you
Yeah.
do, that's fine. But not like, oh, I didn't know what happened. All of a sudden the peanut butter was in my mouth. Like, no, you know.
Deep
And
down.
then that
Yeah.
is the first step to taking responsibility, which leads you straight to sovereignty, self-governing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so beautiful. This has been amazing, Lisa. I really feel like in our conversation the other day was just like this. This has gone even deeper, but it's just, a lot to really consider and think about. And I do love the idea of so much that we uncovered here is just ask ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
learning to self-govern ourselves. And then we realize that we don't need the quick fixes.
Mm-mm.
Right. And I've
No.
learned a lot. What you said something to me that I was like, you know what? I've always liked to let people in the gym, here's the program, here's what we're doing, but I want you to feel in
Mm-hmm.
control. And I've always let
Mhm.
them make the choices. And sometimes I will say my human character is like, are you really going to pick up that weight? And if
Mhm.
they say yes, and I'll be like, you know what? Okay, you pick up that weight and then you can decide how you
Mhm.
feel about it.
Mhm.
But sometimes in my
Mhm.
mind, I'm thinking they should have picked up a different weight. And then sometimes it's later in the day when I'm like, no, they knew what they wanted to pick up. They knew that that was right for them. I can't possibly know how they're feeling. They need to, my point is self-governing comes into so many places in our life, and
It really
we
does,
are
Judy. And
really
that's such
just
a
guides and not a guide is
yes.
different. Yeah.
Yes. A guide is different. And also, yes, you can't know. And yes, they are self-governing. And you also are likely able to see them at a higher version of themselves than they see themselves. So
Yes.
if they're going to pick up that 15 pounder and you know they can do 20 or 25, it is within your wheelhouse as a coach who's being paid to help them improve themselves. Say, like, you know what, just try one set at 20. I bet you can do it.
Yeah.
Because the brain loves efficiency and it doesn't want to be uncomfortable. So, of course, it's going to pick up the 15 pounder instead of the 20
Yes.
pounder. It's
Yes.
not going to be like, this is going to be great. I'm going to dom so bad tomorrow. I'm doing the 20-pound weight. Let's do it. No, like sometimes we need that little, and that's what coaches are so
Yeah. It's
useful
nuanced though,
for.
right? It's
It
like
is.
out.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very delicate line. Yes, very
Yeah.
delicate line. And
Yeah.
it's maybe sometimes, Judy, it's just even planting the seed that
Yeah.
I believe you can do it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, maybe I believe you can do it too.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need other people in our lives to help us plant our seeds.
It's true. We're not really meant, I don't think, to go through this life alone. Well, I know that we're not,
Absolutely not.
you know.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
well,
so
Lisa.
appreciate this, Judy. Thank you so much. I know it's all over the map. You
Yeah.
always just listen with such curiosity and openness, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's awesome. So, all right, folks, that's it for today. Thanks again for popping in and listening today. You can find Lisa Drake on Instagram, and I will put her Instagram handle in the show notes. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at judy@judyarazosa.com, and that will also be in the show notes. And remember to check back in next Tuesday for an all-new episode here on the Air Hug Community Podcast.